Hello everyone, good morning. Today is 16th of June and welcome to the Hindu newspaper analysis. Guys, first of all, sorry, apologies for the little bit delay. Today the Hindu newspaper came little bit late and then making the notes and the slides it took little bit of time. So sorry for the delay. Now guys, let's start with the today's entire Hindu newspaper analysis. Before that, let's first of all see the overview of the important articles that will be relevant into the today's newspaper in the Hindu for our CSE exam. Now here we have the page number 1. Majorly the political articles etc. have been given here. You don't need to see them. For example, the 17 opposition parties to field a candidate for presidential poll. Fine, nothing is important. ED to summon Rahul again. Fine. However, guys, here you can see that the party leaders and veterans, the army veterans, they say that the recently announced Agnipath scheme might have certain problems. It might erode the morale of the people who are joining the army. So we'll be seeing the what is the criticism of the Agnipath scheme. So guys, this is something which is there. Then coming on to the page number 2, the city section. So guys, on the city section, if you see here, there is one article that court's decision has been set aside after judge meets a party alone. Now with respect to GS2, GS3, this article is not important, but guys, this article could be used as a case study in our GS paper number 4, that is ethics. So we'll see that how there is an ethical dimension in this particular article and can be used in our exam. So we'll take this particular thing. After that, the other articles not important. Fine, the regional section, advertisements etc. have been given. Nothing is important into this particular direction. Moving on guys, then again nothing is relevant, so city section is not that much important. Now we'll be directly reaching to the editorial section. Fine. Now in the editorial section, the first article, a ground plan for India's COVID-19 response. So guys, this article says that again India had recorded around 8,000 COVID-19 cases after a gap of 100 years. Fine. Though it is not a very serious concern because the hospitalizations are low, the infections are mild, but still we need to be apprehensive. Wearing of masks, social distancing needs to be enforced. Such kind of things have been provided. A very generalistic article. Important substance is not there in this particular article. Clear. And now as we see that the COVID-19, number one, it is a kind of an evolving thing and very basic things are there. Then bulldozer on the loose. So guys, this article talks about the bulldozer justice that is prevalent. So guys, how the bulldozer justice is violative of certain constitutional issues. That constitutional aspect we are going to see. Then windfall. Now guys, it talks about that the IPL has been a major success and there is a lot of revenue that has been generated by the IPL, and so basically the numbers etc. have been talked here. Fine, all these kind of things are there. One suggestion is being given that the BCCI should use the earnings to develop the infrastructure as well as to promote the women's cricket. However, with respect to UPSC, much of substance is not there. In Sri Lanka crisis, a window of economic opportunity. So guys, this article talks about the Sri Lanka South India single market sub-region. Fine, we'll see this particular suggestion and we see how by this India Sri Lanka relations can further be improved. Then moving on, a poverty trend in search of an explanation. So guys, with respect to the poverty estimation, this article talks about, we'll see what is provided. Then India's lingering homophobia, we'll see that what is provided in this article also. Then time to roll out exam reforms. So guys, this particular article, it is talking about the basically school result of the Andhra Pradesh. Now it is a kind of a issue specific to only one state's school result. Okay, much importance is not there. Then we have the text and the context section. Now this text and the context section is equivalent of explained page that comes actually into Indian Express. Now the first article talks about the fragile state of nuclear disarmament. So guys, it talks about the CIPRI's yearbook that has been released. So with respect to the weaponization, certain data and trends have been talked about, which we'll see. Fine. Then the controversy around the Northern Ireland Protocol. So what is this NIP? What is the issues? All these things we are going to see here. Then the next page, brain network and the nicotine addiction. Now guys, nothing is relevant. Substance is not there with respect to the UPSC. Then further moving on, Doval attends meetings hosted by China. Now guys, basically these meetings aim that how onto the LAC, when the frictions that is going between the India and China, they are brought to a kind of they could be normalized. We have seen that after the Galwan Valley clashes, fine, there has not been the good relations between the India and China, so the normalization is being attempted, fine, but much substance is not there. Now, petition in Supreme Court seeks stringent population control law. Now, guys, see, population control. Basically, over and over again, earlier the Uttar Pradesh government come out with the draft population bill. Now in the Supreme Court the petition has been filed that we need to come out with a population control law. But guys, these particular things don't make any logical sense into the present time. Why? Because the National Family Health Survey 5 that has been released, it has said that already India's total fertility rate has become less than the replacement rate. Now, what do we mean by the replacement rate, guys? Replacement rate means that particular total fertility rate at which the population of a country will get stabilized. Is it clear or not? Now I'll tell you the replacement rate, what it is. Replacement rate right now, replacement rate is 2.1. 2.1, it means that if every married couple will reproduce 2.1 child, obviously point 0.1 is not possible on a entire country level, that number comes 2.1. So if every couple will reproduce 2.1 children, then the population will stabilize, neither it will go up nor it will go down. Now India's total fertility rate has become less than 2.1, it is 2.0. So already India's population is going to decline over the next few years. Population growth is not there, but still these kind of petitions are being made, fine. So this is something that you need to understand, but it is just a petition that has been made, nothing more than that. Then guys, after moving on, Agniveers to get priority in the CAPF recruitment. We'll see this particular thing along with the critical evaluation of the article. Then guys, after that, demolition drives may change the rule of law. So this particular thing also we are going to see along with that the Bulldozer justice article that we'll see. Then after that, so this is an interview with the Donald Lu. Fine, India is a global security power and this is in US interest. Then after that, moving on. So here on the international page, Ukraine pleads the West for the weapons because now the Russia actually had captured a substantial portion into the Ukraine. Fine, but nothing is important in this particular article. She supports research support for the Russia on the security ties. So we see this that as how when the West has come against the Russia, the China is supporting the Russia. Fine. Then guys, reduced Russian gas flows is political, says German official. So all these are actually the evolutionary details that have been there. Fine, with respect to the policy, with respect to the concept, much substance is not there. China lifts COVID-19 visa bans on Indians. So guys, this was actually a kind of an impending issue. When the COVID-19 started, there was the visa curbs that was applied on Indians, and many of the Indian students actually who came back to the India because of the COVID-19, now they were not able to go back to start their studies. So this was a very big problem. Now the China has removed this visa bans onto the Indians, and the Indian students now can go back to China and can resume their studies. After that, moving on, now here guys, we can see that the trade gap widens as import surges 63%. Now see, this particular number will be changing every coming month, every coming few days. So you don't need to see that okay, import surge how much it is, but just you need to understand that what has happened actually. India's exports are growing, but at the same time the imports have grown too much than the exports, and because of that the trade gap is there. It means that basically we are importing more and exporting less. Is it clear or not? And when we talk about the export, one thing more I want to tell you. Couple of months back, India has achieved a milestone of exporting more than $400 billion worth of goods and services. Okay, so our exports have increased, but imports increased so much that the trade gap has actually increased. Fine. After that, guys, 5G will drive significant advancements. Analyst, global oil demand to rise this much, etc. Fine. No need to go too much into these particular articles. Policy aspect, nothing is there. So that is all, guys, about the important articles about in the Hindu's newspaper, in the Hindu newspaper today. And now let's discuss all these articles one by one in the detail. Now, before starting, let's first of all take the GS quote for today. So today, guys, we are taking the quote from the Albert Schweitzer. Now, Albert Schweitzer has explained the nature of ethics. Albert Schweitzer says that ethics is the activity of man directed to secure the inner perfection of his personality. Okay, so ethics is directed towards your inner personality. It is directed towards your inner perfection. Okay, perfection of your character. Okay, now this particular quote could directly be used into the definition of ethics, topic number 1, ethics and human interface in GS paper number 4. So please note down this particular quote, directly you can use in your answers. Now, moving on, taking up the first article. So guys, in the first article we have actually clubbed two articles from the Hindu newspaper. The first article is taken from the page number 1, and then there is an article which is taken after the editorial page. Now, before going in this particular article, I would like to tell certain background. I would like to connect certain dots in the background so that you can understand this entire issue. Now, guys, first of all, in the yesterday's newspaper analysis, that is on the 15th of the June, we have understood that the government has now decided to tame the problem of increasing unemployment. I have already told you that the periodic labor force survey has been recently announced. The periodic labor force survey 2020-2021 has been announced. It says that the unemployment has reduced compared to the previous edition of periodic labor force survey, but guys, still in India the unemployment is above 4%. It is above 4%, and above 4% means that in last 45 years we are facing the worst unemployment. To deal with the unemployment, government announced the Ministry of Defense announced this Agnipath scheme. Fine, Agnipath scheme. Yesterday we have seen this Agnipath scheme. Okay, now guys, first of all, if in case you have forgotten, or just as a revision, I'll be briefly talking about the provisions of the Agnipath scheme, and then I'll tell that the criticism that has come onto this particular Agnipath scheme. Now guys, where this particular article is going to be important, in GS paper number 2 there is specifically provided the critical evaluation of the government welfare schemes. Okay, so in the critical evaluation, these points are going to be important. Now, first of all, what was this Agnipath scheme? Guys, in the Agnipath scheme, the Ministry of Defense provided that through the Agnipath, the soldiers in the three wings of the defense, in the army, in the navy, in the air force, the soldiers will be appointed through the Agnipath scheme. What happens in this particular scheme? Basically, the soldiers between the age group of 17.5 years to 21 years, they will be appointed. They will be appointed for a period of 4 years. Keep it in mind, they will be appointed for the period of 4 years, including the training period. Is it clear? After 4 years, when they will be getting retired, they will be given the Seva Nidhi package. In this Seva Nidhi package, approximately 11.7 lakh rupees will be given to them. Now guys, this Seva Nidhi package, first the money will be deducted from the salaries of these soldiers. That deducted money will be deposited in a fund. Government will also give a matching contribution, and this Seva Nidhi package will be given after 4 years of their term. Moreover, guys, it has also been provided that these Agniveers will also be given the skill certificate. They will be given the insurance cover of 48 lakh rupees. Every year, particular number of Agniveers. Now the soldiers who are appointed through Agnipath, they will be called as Agniveers. Every year certain number of Agniveers will be appointed. 46,000 Agniveers will be recruited this year itself. Now guys, it is provided that, see, they are appointed for 4 years terms, but some of these Agniveers will be retained on a long-term employment into the defense forces as well. Around 25% of Agniveers from each batch will be enrolled into the regular cadres of the armed forces, and they will be on par with the regular soldiers that are there. So this is something that has happened. Now guys, basically, along with all these particular things that have happened, there is one more new development that has come into this particular Agnipath scheme. First of all, now what has happened? Number one, it has been said by the Ministry of Home Affairs. Ministry of Home Affairs have said this particular thing, that see, the soldiers who have been enrolled into the army through the Agnipath scheme, they will be given the preference in the Central Armed Police Forces as well as into the Assam Rifles. So let's say that there was an individual, he served for 4 years under the Agnipath scheme into the army. Fine. So this particular person will be given the first preference into the Central Armed Police Forces and to the Assam Rifles. Now, guys, when we talk about the Central Armed Police Force, Central Armed Police Force comprises CRPF, Central Reserve Police Force. Keep it in mind. It is very important for our GS paper number 3. In GS paper number 3, we have internal security. In the internal security, there is the various enforcement agencies. So in CAPF, we have CRPF, we have Central Industrial Security Force, major forces I'm talking about. We have the Border Security Force, BSF, Shahastra Seema Bal is there, Indo-Tibetan Border Police Force is there. Now the CAPF, it comes under, not under the Ministry of Defense, rather it comes under the administrative and operation control of the Home Ministry. Keep it in mind, it comes under Home Ministry. When we talk about the Assam Rifles, they are deployed along the Myanmar border, and again they are also under the control of the Home Ministry. So the Agniveers, they will be given the preference in CAPF as well as in the Assam Rifles. Now guys, understand this particular thing. According to the latest data of the Home Ministry, it has been said that over the last few years, the appointment into the CAPF, fine, in the category of constables, sub-inspectors and assistant commandants have been very much less. There is the 80% decline in the new appointments in the CAPF. Fine. So all these new vacancies that have been there, they will also be filled by the Agniveers who are being appointed through the Agnipath scheme. Agniveers are the soldiers who are appointed. Fine. So this is something that has happened. So guys, first of all, I expect that you have understood this entire Agnipath scheme and all the provisions that have come. Now let's talk about the critical aspect. Let's talk about the critical evaluation of this particular scheme that has come. So guys, basically the army veterans, they say that, see, this is nothing but an attempt to raise the contractual army. Is it clear? What you are doing, you are appointing the soldiers for a tenure of 4 years. So on a contract base, you are raising the army. And when we talk about the army, it is not simply a job. Army, it is a devotion, it is a sentiment. You are appointing a person on a contractual basis, it will bring a disgrace to this particular service. So this is one criticism. Then second, it is said that, see, government just is concerned about saving some money. It says that why you are raising the army at a contract of 4 years, because the government doesn't want to give them the benefit of lifelong pensions. When the regular soldiers are appointed, they are given a pension, but these contractual soldiers, as the veterans have said, they will not be given a pension. So therefore the government has taken this particular move just to save the money. Then it has been said that it will impact the morals of the soldiers. Is it clear? Now obviously, if a soldier is going to join for the 4 years, his morale will not be on par with the soldier who have a kind of a lifelong employment. So the morale will be impacted. Then fourthly, it has been said that, see, after 4 years they will be retired. What about their future prospects? Fine, where they will be employable after that particular thing. So their future prospects, it has not been taken any care by the government. Future prospects are not there. Then guys, there was one more allegation that was made, though I don't basically believe in that particular thing, but one more allegation has been made. It has been said that many of these trained youth, fine, they were hired for 4 years. After that, they are just left out to look at their own. There is no future prospects. They could become a kind of a cadre for the militias. They could become the cadre for the militias. Okay, so this is something which is also being said. Fine, though I don't believe with this particular point. Okay, so these are certain criticisms that have come in this particular direction. I hope guys that you have understood it. So this is all about this particular article, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Now, this article we have taken from the page number 2, the city section. And this article, guys, it says that the court's decision set aside after judge meets a party alone. Now, where this particular article we are going to use? We are going to use this article in GS paper number 4, Ethics, Integrity and Aptitude. GS paper number 4. Now, what is this issue? I'll first of all explain the issue and then I will tell how it is related to the ethics. So basically, guys, what happened? A family court in Delhi, a family court's judge in Delhi, a family court's judge in Delhi, he provided his personal mobile number. He provided his personal mobile number to basically party where a couple was fighting the case regarding the custody of their child. Okay, so the husband and the wife was basically fighting a case with respect to the custody of their child. Now the judge gave the personal mobile number. Moreover, the judge met separately with the husband and then the order was given. Now an allegation is being made. An allegation is being made that the judge has actually compromised the integrity and had taken the decision on basis of some personal interest. Because of this particular thing, the decision has been kept aside. Now, where this particular article is going to be important. So, guys, in ethics, GS paper number 4, topic number 1. Ethics, GS paper number 4, topic number 1. We have public life versus private life. Ethics in public life versus ethics in private life. First of all, let's understand that what is public life and what is private life. So guys, see, the life of any individual or the social life of any individual is divided in two parts. There is one part of his social life called as public life, another part of his social life called as the private life. Now, when you are interacting with your friends, when you are with your family members, when with your brothers, sisters, your siblings, that is the part of your life where you are living your private life. Clear? Public life is your life in an official capacity. When you are a judge, okay, your duties as a judge constitutes a part of your public life. When we talk about the difference between the private life and public life, the difference is very clear here. For example, the private life, the public life. Private life, here the relations are more informal. Public life, the relations are more formal. Private life, emotions are more prominent here. Fine, the decisions will be taken on the basis of emotions. Public life, emotions are not important. The hierarchy is important. Protocol is more important. Fine, in private life, there is no strict procedure to deal with each other, no strict way of interacting with each other. But in the public life, there is a very strict procedure which you have to follow while you are interacting with the other people. There, now, the allegiance into the private life. Allegiance means that basically the allegiance is like, for example, a son obeys the father. A son is giving allegiance to father. A husband gives a certain allegiance to the wife. So the allegiance with each other is by the social design. By the social design. In the public life, the allegiance is by the virtue of authority. There is an authority, there is a chain of command that you have to follow. The private relations are intimate, deep, but the public life relations, they are based on to the quid pro quo. Quid pro quo. What is the quid pro quo? Quid pro quo means something for something. Okay, where the relations are something for something. You do something for me, I'll do something for you. Clear? So these are some of the defining factors between the private life and public life. Now, guys, what actually is the thing that a public servant, fine, even a judge, every one of them needs to maintain a strict separation between their private life and public life. Public life needs to be completely separate, private life needs to be completely separate. If you will not keep them separate, what will happen? Often there will be the conflict of interest will come. Sometimes even in your public life, you will take the decisions based on emotions. Emotions should not be there in the public life. Okay, so such kind of a thing will happen, and the same thing happened in this particular case as well. The judge gave the private personal number. Now, when the judge has given the personal number to the parties, what has happened? By giving the personal number, he is trying to establish a private connection with the petitioners. Now the petitioners and the judge, their relation needs to be a public relation. He giving the number, trying to establish a private relation. So a conflict of interest has come in this particular thing, which should be avoided by every public servant. Now here I will give you one good example also. I will give you one good example also which you can use in your answers. So I will give you the example of Justice Pratibha Singh. The example of Justice Pratibha Singh. Now, the Justice Pratibha Singh was the judge, or she was a justice in Delhi High Court. Delhi High Court. What happened? Basically, this was the issue when this WhatsApp privacy policy controversy was going on. Now, what happened into the WhatsApp privacy case? Justice Pratibha Singh was appointed as a judge on the bench which was hearing that WhatsApp case. Now, Justice Pratibha Singh took a recusal from the case. She took a recusal from the case. Recusal means she said that I will not hear the case. Why she said that she will not hear the case? Because she said that when she was advocate, at that point of a time, when she was a lawyer, at that point of a time, she had appeared on behalf of WhatsApp. Today, if she becomes a judge where the WhatsApp is involved, it will lead to some conflict of interest. So she recused from this particular case. So this is an example that needs to be followed. Wherever basically your personal interest and your public interest are coming in conflict, you need to make sure that such a kind of a thing is not there. Is it clear? So this is something that is the issue that is needed to be kept in mind. Now guys, in this article also we can see what the High Court has said. Just a minute. See what the High Court says. The High Court says that the judges have to remind themselves time and again that each and every conduct is observed and not noted by the litigants, and therefore knowingly or unknowingly they might not act in a manner which gives rise to even slightest of doubt in the minds of the litigant. Is it clear or not? देखो, जब भी justice की बात आती है, there is one saying. It is said that justice should not only be done, but it should be seen that the justice has been done. Again, I'll repeat, whenever the judiciary's conduct is there, it is said that, again I'll repeat, if you want, you can note it down. Justice should not only be done, rather it should be seen that the justice is being done. Are you getting? Guys, even let's say in this particular matter, the judge decided the case on completely on its merit. But the perception is not there that the judge has been fair. Why? Because the judge tried to make some kind of a private relation by getting involved privately by one of petitioner. So therefore the basically norm of fair justice has been violated. Clear? So guys, see, even these small things could actually be impactful in terms of concept. Fine. So I hope you understood. Now we'll move to the next article. Now, the fragile state of nuclear disarmament. This particular article is taken from the Hindu text and the context page. And guys, this particular article will be seeing with respect to the GS paper number 2, armament, GS paper number 2, just a minute. Disarmament, as well as in GS paper number 4, threats to peace, even this particular article can be seen. Now guys, before going in this particular article, I will first of all give you some background so that you can understand that what this issue is all about. So guys, we have one organization by the name of Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, SIPRI. Now guys, this SIPRI, it releases its yearbook as well as it releases the data with respect to the armament related to the nuclear weaponries that are stashed with the different countries. It tells the expenditure that is being done onto the weaponry and all these kind of things. The SIPRI, Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, also advocates the disarmament. Disarmament means that the countries should agree that they are going to reduce the weapon stockpile and all these kind of things. So the SIPRI has released its yearbook. Here the data have been given. It said that between the year during 2012 to 2021, between these years there are two things. Number one, the military spending as a percentage of GDP. The military spending as a percent of GDP has actually been stable. Even it has gone a little bit down. Even it has gone little bit down. So this is a kind of a good thing that okay, spending is not increasing. But at the same time, the absolute number of nuclear inventory with two of the countries, that is the Russia and USA, it is very much high. Fine, though you don't need to remember the numbers, but you can see guys that right now the largest nuclear weapons nuclear inventory is with which country? It is with the Russia. They have around 5977 warheads. Okay, at second number there is USA, 5428 warheads they are having. But guys, actually USA's deployed warheads, the warheads which have been deployed to a particular target, it is higher than the Russia. Clear? So nuclear, still there is a lot of nuclear threat into the world because of so many of the nuclear warheads that have been there. Now guys, India's nuclear warheads, if you want to know, fine, they are not that much high. I'll just show you India's also here. So guys, here we can see that uh, India has 160, Pakistan has 165. Okay, China, basically China's number, if we see, okay, I'll show you the China also. Just a minute. China has around 350. Okay, so China has around 350. Okay, so basically one more thing is there which we need to note down. What we need to note down is that China has been touted as a country which is becoming a threat to the entire world, because they say that the China is becoming more and more nuclearized. But you see, China's warheads just 350, Russia and USA nearly 5000. So this is one more conclusion that you need to take from here. Now guys, you don't need to remember every each of their exact numbers, but you need to see that okay, where the position lies. Now, the CIPRI's report, it says that actually military modernization is now being seen as a global trend, and this particular thing will lead again to a kind of a weapon race. Again, it will lead to a war race that is there. Now, what has happened? Many of the countries, they are going for updating their military arsenal. They are going to build up more efficient nuclear submarines fleet. They are trying to have more and more of aircraft carriers, fighter jets, manned and unmanned aerial vehicles, drones, etc. They are updating it. Even the Rafale jet that India had signed with the France, we are also trying to update our aerial fleet. So because of this modernization that is going on into the entire world, again the weapons demand is actually going to increase. Now basically, what is the India centric point in this particular report? Now India guys, it has been the largest importer of the weaponry between the period of 2017 to 2021. We are the largest importers of the weaponry. And guys, if you remember in the overview, I was telling you that the trade deficit, the trade gap of India is actually increasing. We are importing more. And when the imports are concerned, two of the biggest items that make the India's import bill, even three items. Number one, crude, weapons, gold. Crude, weapon, gold. And apart from that, other things are also there, such as the electronics. Fine. Then the CIPRI, it provides that when we talk about the Iran is also spending too much onto their weaponaries. Moreover, it has been said that Iran's uranium enrichment, it has increased to 60% in 2021. Now guys, see, when we talk about the Iran enriches their uranium, and if you enrich the uranium after a particular level, it becomes a war grade uranium. Now Iran is enriching too much of uranium, and by that Iran could make a nuclear bomb. So in order to control the Iran, joint comprehensive plan of action was signed after 2014. Fine, this joint comprehensive plan of action, actually it got failed. Why? Because the Donald Trump withdrew out of this. Now, though again there are the talks that the joint comprehensive plan of action should be brought and Iran should be controlled, it should not enrich the uranium, but still the Iran's uranium enrichment is going on. So what is the way forward? How to control this particular thing? What could be the suggestion? What we should do? So guys, the suggestion lies into the fact that the political opposition, strong political opposition needs to be there into the countries which are the big spenders on onto the weaponry. Moreover, it has been said that two largest nuclear weapon holding states, that is the Russia and the USA, they needs to have a more engaging role into the international arena. They need to bring forward more of the they need to be more serious onto the disarmament. Fine. So this is all which have been provided in this particular article. And now guys, we'll be moving to the next article. Now, this article again taken from the text and the context section, the controversy around the Northern Ireland Protocol. Clear? Now, before discussing this particular article, I would be talking about one particular fact. Guys, see, the Northern Ireland Protocol, it deals with the Brexit and it deals with the domestic issues going in the Europe. The domestic issues going on in the Europe. See, you need to have a understanding that what is this matter about, but you don't need to go too much into the detail, because at the end of the day it is a domestic matter of Europe, number one. Number two, the impacts on India, fine, are not that much, and whatever things will not create too much impact onto the India, these things are not actually too much important in UPSC. Fine. And the reason number three is that these particular developments are very, very volatile. They are very volatile. Okay, so therefore giving too much of the focus will not be having much of a benefit. Fine, but let's understand this entire controversy that is going on. So guys, see, you all might be knowing the European Union. When we talk about the European Union, it is actually the political as well as economic union of the 27 countries in the Europe. So all the countries, right now 27 countries are the member of the European Union. These countries, they have liberalized border rules. Fine, the goods can go through and fro from these countries without much of a restriction. They have also a common currency by the name of Euro. Fine, they have collective institutions, European Court of basically under the EU, there is EU Bank and all these organizations are there. Now, when we talk about the European Union, the founding treaty of the European Union is called as the Maastricht Treaty of 1992. Is it clear? So, the European Union is there. Now, guys, when we talk about European Union, till before 2022, the UK was also the part of the European Union. But what happened? UK decided that it will leave the European Union, and therefore the Brexit happened. What is Brexit? Brexit simply means the exit of the Britain from the European Union. Brexit was completed in 2020. Now, what will be the implication of the Brexit? So guys, see, suppose this is earlier the entire European Union. This is earlier the entire European Union. Okay, let's understand it from very basic. This is entire the European Union, and even the UK was earlier the part of European Union. Now, whatever the goods are being transported from one country to another country, they can move very freely. There was no restriction, nothing was there, because it was a common union, it was a custom union, economic union. Things were going very much good. But what happened? The UK decided that okay, we will be separating from the European Union. It means that once the UK is separated from the European Union, goods between the UK and European Union cannot move freely. Again, I am saying the goods between the UK and the European Union cannot move freely. If any good has to be moved from UK to European Union, there will be the border checks that will be imposed. This is one thing that is going to happen. Now guys, please pay attention on this particular picture that I am showing you here. Now, when we talk about the United Kingdom, okay, United Kingdom is there. Northern Ireland, it is the part of the United Kingdom. Now, there is one more Ireland also, the Republic of Ireland. There is also one more Ireland which is called as the Republic of Ireland. Now, guys, keep this particular thing in mind that Republic of Ireland, or this white one, Ireland, it is still the part of the European Union. Fine, what are the facts? Today, the UK is not the part of European Union and Northern Ireland is the part of UK. And because the Northern Ireland is the part of the UK, today Northern Ireland is not even the member of the European Union. That is the thing. But Republic of Ireland, just a minute. But the Republic of Ireland, this Ireland, fine, it is the part of European Union. Now guys, understand this particular thing. The things have become little bit complicated. Why complicated? Because if you see the UK is actually little bit isolated from other countries of Europe. It is not making any physical land boundary with the other countries of European Union, but actually with Ireland, the Republic of Ireland, it is making a kind of a land boundary here. It is making a land boundary, and Ireland is a part of the European Union. So actually Ireland, Republic of Ireland is the only country which makes the physical boundary with the Northern Ireland. Is it clear or not? Now, just please be with me for just a minute and I'll explain this entire issue. So basically now as the UK is not the part of the European Union, what technically means? Technically means that if any good technically it means that if any good has to come from Northern Ireland to the Republic of Ireland, or if any good has to go from the Republic of Ireland to the Northern Ireland, there needs to be the boundary checks between these two countries. There needs to be the boundary check. Why? Because now the UK is not the part of European Union. Fine. So simply we could have installed the barricades here. But guys, this cannot be done in this case. Why the barricades cannot be installed between the Northern Ireland, which is the part of UK, and Ireland, which is a part of European Union? It is because of the Good Friday Agreement of 1998. 1998 Good Friday Agreement. Now, what is this Good Friday Agreement? You need to understand. So guys, basically when we talk about the Ireland and the North Ireland, there is a violent history between the Ireland and the Northern Ireland. Now there is a group of people into the Ireland, they are called as the Unionist. These Unionists, they connect with the UK, and they want that the Ireland, Northern Ireland should be united with the UK. They don't want to stay separate. Okay, so Unionist, they identify with the UK, and they say that any attempt of Ireland to separate them from the UK will not be good. Clear? Now guys, what happened in 1998? This Good Friday Agreement that was signed. 1998 Good Friday Agreement that was signed. It was said that there cannot be any hard border. There cannot be any hard border between the Northern Ireland and the Ireland. Why? Because then it will try to disconnect the Ireland from the UK. So hard boundary between Northern Ireland and Ireland cannot be there. This was agreed into this Good Friday Agreement. Now guys, coming back to the 2020 Brexit. Now when the Brexit has happened and when the European Union and the UK are to be kept separate, obviously the suggestion comes that in order to check the movement of goods, we need to have a boundary here. But the Good Friday Agreement doesn't allow us to have a boundary onto between at this particular area. So guys, what was the agreement that was signed? What was the compromise that was signed? So the compromise came, and the name of the compromise was NIP. The name of the compromise was NIP. NIP means Northern Ireland Protocol. NIP means Northern Ireland Protocol. Now, what was this Northern Ireland Protocol? In the Northern Ireland Protocol, it was said that okay, by the virtue of the Good Friday Agreement, we will not have any hard boundary here. Rather, we will have a boundary here. Rather, we'll have the boundary here. A sea boundary will be there. So guys, if any good is coming from UK to the Northern Ireland, it will be checked whether it is meeting the European Union standards or not. See, European Union has a very strict standards with respect to the eggs, poultry products, food items. So what can happen that suppose if a good comes from UK to the Northern Ireland, obviously this particular good then can be moved to the Ireland. Why? Because in between there are no hard borders. So therefore there will be the check post here in the sea, so that we can check whether the goods are meeting the European Union standards or not. So here the check post or a kind of a boundary was established. Now guys, this thing happened, but over the period it became a kind of it brought another kind of problem. What kind of problem? Basically the traders, they complained. They said that there is a lot of paperwork that has to be presented in order to cross this particular check post, and it is putting the businesses at a disadvantage. They say that even though the Northern Ireland is the part of UK, So if any trader wants to ship goods from another part of UK to the Northern Ireland, which itself is a part of a country, there is a lot of problem that is associated, and the business lobbies that started to put pressure onto the UK's government. So therefore now what has happened, the UK's government they had decided that they will amend the Northern Ireland Protocol. What the amendment they are talking about? They say that actually there will be two arrangements that will be there. There will be a green lane, and then there will be a red lane. Now what is this green lane and red lane? They say that actually suppose certain goods are coming from UK and these goods will be consumed into the Northern Ireland only. They will not go to the Republic of Ireland. Clear? So if the goods are to be consumed into the Northern Ireland only, these goods will move through the green lane. Much of the checking, paper, documentation work will not be there. However, if certain goods have to go to the Republic of Ireland, then they will move from the red lane. There, the checking, the documentation, etc. has to be done. Now, guys, as this particular amendment is being carried by the UK, fine, the European Union has a problem with this. European Union says that by this particular thing, actually, a lot of abuse will happen. Sometimes the goods will be shown that they are going to be used into the Northern Ireland, but actually they will land up in the Republic of Ireland. Clear? So this is creating a kind of a problem. Moreover, it has been said that here the permission from the European Union or the consensus of the European Union is not there. It is a unilateral move that is being done. Fine. Secondly, the UK's government, they are trying to bring one more amendment. They say that if any dispute emerges with respect to the goods that are coming from UK to the European Union, fine, the Republic of Ireland, those goods will be dealt by an independent body. UK says that the disputes will be dealt by the independent body, but the European Union says that no, it should be dealt by the European Court of Justice. Fine. So European Union says that it should be dealt by the European Court of Justice. UK says that it will be dealt by the independent body. So all these particular things are bringing the disputes. Fine. So guys, this is the entire issue that has been there. You don't need to go too much into the detail. You just need to understand the broad contours of this particular matter. So that is all about it. And now guys, we'll move to the next article. Now, this particular article taken from the Hindu editorial section, a poverty trend in search of an explanation. Now, this particular article will be important for GS paper number 2, topic of poverty. Now, guys, what this particular article is all about. So, now understand this particular thing that the poverty estimation is a very important exercise of a country. We need to know how much percentage of people are actually poor. Now, what is the tool to measure the poverty in India? So to measure the poverty, there are the household consumption expenditure surveys, CES, consumption expenditure surveys that are carried. Now these consumption expenditure surveys are to be carried at regular intervals. Now guys, the last consumption expenditure survey that has been happened in India, it was conducted in 2011-12 by the Planning Commission. 2011-10 by the Planning Commission. Now we are in 2022. More than nearly 10 years have happened, but up till now the consumption expenditure survey has not been conducted for the India. It is a huge period. We don't have any poverty estimate. Clear? Now basically, if I tell you behind the curtains, there are some other developments that have also happened. See, last happened in 2011 and 12. Now guys, actually meanwhile in 2017 and 18 also the NSSO, National Sample Survey Office, it carried the exercise for collecting the consumption expenditure survey. The data was collected, but the data has not been published by the government. Data has been rejected by the government. Government says that this data is defective. Okay, the government is not bringing the data. Now by this particular thing, there are certain suspicions that have emerged. People or some of the economists, they are saying that data was not defective. Government is not giving the data because probably this is the first time into the history of India after 1991, that actually poverty has increased. Clear? Government gives its own logic. Government says that no, poverty cannot be increased. Why? Because government says that there cannot be any decline in consumption because the GDP of country has actually increased. Because the GDP has increased, the people's consumption cannot go down. Fine. But guys, this cannot be true because we see that in India, inequality is huge. If the GDP is increasing, if the incomes of the people are increasing, it could happen that there are certain section of people who got all the benefit of the increase in economic activities in India. Poor people might not have got a lot of benefit. Moreover, guys, it has happened, it is being said that in 2016 demonetization happened, and this 2016 demonetization actually impacted the unorganized informal sector of India. Clear? And because this plight of the informal in or unorganized informal sector was witnessed in 2017 and 18 data, it has not been provided. Moreover, guys, periodic labor force survey, fine, even yesterday the periodic labor force surveys report has come. Periodic labor force survey is repeatedly saying this particular thing, that unemployment in India is increasing. So if unemployment in India is increasing, fine, how we can say that the poverty has actually reduced? So moreover, the IMF, International Monetary Fund, as well as the World Bank, they have also said that the spending has went down, consumption has went down, and the poverty might have increased in India. So guys, what government needs to do? Government needs to accept the ground reality and needs to come out with urgent data on the CES, consumption expenditure survey, so that actually we can know where the poverty is heading in the India. Is it clear? So it needs to be brought. So this is something which have been suggested in this entire article. Now we will be moving to the next article. In Sri Lankan crisis, a window of economic opportunity. Clear? So this is the article. Now guys, what this particular article is talking about? This article is talking about an opportunity between the India-Sri Lanka relations. India-Sri Lanka relations. Now see this particular thing. Basically, if you see the India, here we have India and here we have the Sri Lanka. So basically, there are a lot of cultural similarities between the South India and Sri Lanka, particularly the Tamil Nadu and the Sri Lanka. You know this particular thing, that when the Britishers came in India, a large number of people from the Tamil Nadu were taken to the Sri Lanka to work onto the plantations. Is it clear? So a lot of cultural similarities there between the Sri Lanka and South India. And in this particular direction, what has happened? The Sri Lankan Prime Minister had actually raised the idea of Sri Lanka South India single market sub-region. Again, please focus. Now guys, these keywords could be used in your answers. Sri Lanka South India single market sub-region. In fact, the Sri Lankan Prime Minister in 2003 earlier has given that we should build this Sri Lanka South Indian single market union. Now let's talk about certain facts. So basically, in 2016, while the Sri Lankan Prime Minister was addressing the South Asian Diaspora Convention in Singapore, it was said that actually when we talk about the 5 South Indian states, they have a population of 250 million people, and they have a combined GDP of 450 billion. 5 South Indian states, 250 million people, and $450 billion worth of GDP. If the Sri Lanka's GDP is also added to these 5 South Indian states, then basically this entire region, its GDP will be around $500 billion, and the aggregate population will be 270 million. So economically and in terms of population, this entire sub-region has a lot of potential. And on this particular line, the South Indian states and the Sri Lanka need to cooperate with each other. Economically, they can cooperate and they can actually reap a lot of fruits. Now guys, it has been said that actually the India also have always taken attempts that how it can make closer ties with the Sri Lanka. In this particular direction, guys, India always follow the neighborhood first policy, and this neighborhood first policy was used into the present Sri Lankan economic crisis that is going on. Fine. So what has happened? right now India had provided the aid to the Sri Lanka to the tune of $3.5 billion. Around $3.5 billion of aid is provided. Apart from that, the essentials such as the food, medicines, fuel, kerosene, they are also being provided to the Sri Lanka. Moreover, it is being said that recently the latest development that has happened is the Export Import Bank of India, that is the Exim Bank of India. It has provided a $55 million line of credit to the Sri Lanka. So all these economic as well as humanitarian supports that we are giving to the Sri Lanka, it shows that there is a possibility of building even strong relations. But guys, at the same time, baggage of history brings a hurdle, and it impacts the realization of Sri Lankan South Indian single market sub-region's vision. What is the baggage of history? So baggage of history is there, guys. It has been often seen into the Sri Lanka witnesses many time India as a big brother. By that particular thing, many times the Sri Lanka feels intimidated by the India's vast presence. Moreover, it has been said that there is also the history where many a times the Sri Lanka has been invaded by the rulers of South India. Moreover, it has been said that actually in 1983, after the anti-Tamil massacre happened into the Sri Lanka, Indian government provided a lot of support to the Tamil rebels who were into the Sri Lanka. So directly India providing support to the Tamilian rebellions into the Sri Lanka, it has strained the relations. Moreover, sometimes Sri Lanka also had actually took certain steps by which the relation between India and Sri Lanka got impacted. For example, in 2021, fine, India, Japan, Sri Lanka. India, Japan, Sri Lanka, they signed a tripartite agreement where the India and Japan have to develop the Colombo's East Container Terminal. In the Colombo East Container Terminal was to be developed by India and Japan. But this particular deal was cancelled by the Sri Lanka unilaterally, and it is expected that the Chinese pressure was there. After that, the NTPC and Ceylon Electricity Board's deal fine has been cancelled. So these some baggages actually are problematic. So guys, it has been said that actually there is a lot of potential. India Sri Lanka needs to mend their ties and needs to collaborate on infrastructure development. They can collaborate on cross border energy trade. They can collaborate. Many such low hanging fruits are there which needs to be focused upon. Moreover guys, the religious ties, the cultural ties between the India and Sri Lanka can also be leveraged. You know that the Sri Lanka, majority of people into the Sri Lanka, they follow the Buddhism, and for Buddhism, the India happens to be a major destination, religious destination, pilgrimage destination. Even into the South India, Andhra Pradesh is an important Buddhist destination. So the Andhra Pradesh can connect with the Sri Lanka directly through the Buddhism. Clear? So these are certain low hanging fruits that are needed to be leveraged, and the relations are needed to be warmed between India and Sri Lanka. This is all which is being talked in this particular article. So that is all guys about it, and now we'll move to the next article. India's lingering homophobia. India's lingering homophobia. Now guys, this particular article, it is talking about that how in India at many instances we have shown a kind of a disdain, a dislike for the homosexual people. Now guys, see, first of all, when we talk about the homophobic attitude, what do we mean by the homophobic attitude? Homophobia simply means a prejudice, a fear, a strong dislike against a people, against a particular type of people. Which type of people? The people who are homosexuals. Now, homosexuals are the people who have the same sex preference. So against the homosexual people, there is a sense of phobia, there is a sense of dislike, there is a sense of fear, which is called as homophobia. Now this homophobia could be a mild dislike, or it could be a kind of a violent dislike as well. So in India, the homosexuality is not taken positively, and homophobia is very much prevalent. Now this particular thing violates the constitutional idea of fraternity. It violates the constitutional idea of fraternity. Fraternity has been very much deep. So basically in the Indian constitution, fraternity has been called as an implicit part of Indian constitution. Now guys, the Dr. B.R. Ambedkar has been the champion of fraternity. He says that, now I'll read what the Dr. B.R. Ambedkar's statement is. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar stated while talking on to the fraternity, he said that my social philosophy may be said to be enshrined in three words: liberty, equality, and fraternity. So this is the social philosophy of B.R. Ambedkar, enshrined in three words: liberty, equality, fraternity. He says that you don't confuse that I have borrowed this word of fraternity from the French Revolution. You know this particular thing, that many times we even see that into the preamble or basically into the Constitution of India, the word fraternity has been borrowed from the French Revolution. He says that no, that is not the case. Fraternity has been an idea which has been taught by the Buddha from ancient times. Okay. So he says that the fraternity is the only safeguard against the denial of liberty, against the denial of equality. B.R. Ambedkar talked into the context of Dalits. He said that when Dalits are there, many times the justice is not given to them, equality is not given to them. So only way of giving equality and justice to the Dalit is by bringing the fraternity. Is it clear? Today when we talk about the homosexuals, homosexuals are called as the gender Dalits. Homosexuals, now very good and a very impactful keyword has been used, the gender Dalits. So the homosexuals are being called as gender Dalits. So they, in order to provide that the people don't have a dislike against them, we need to strongly work onto the idea of fraternity. We need to defeat, we need to condemn, we need to avoid the homophobia that is prevalent. Fine. So this is all which have been talked in this particular article. I hope guys you have understood it, and now we'll move to the next article. Now here we have again clubbed two articles, one from the editorial section and other article is from the other I think page number 11 or page number 12. Now guys, this particular article, it is talking about the bulldozer justice that has now become prevalent. Bulldozer on the loose, demolition drives may be the challenge to the rule of law. Now understand this particular thing, what has happened, many of the states, okay, have used the bulldozing of the houses of the people who were involved in some protest, who were involved in some kind of a clashes. Clear? Basically, the bulldozing of the houses of the people, it has been justified on political as well as a social landscape. State governments bulldozing the house on for the political purpose. They don't say that we have bulldozed their houses because they were involved in a riot or etc. They say that it has been bulldozed because they were violating the building codes. Those were the illegal structures, it has been said. Is it clear or not? Fine. Just a minute. So for legal purpose, it is said that the houses have been bulldozed because they were the illegal constructions. Are you getting? For political and social reasons, it is said that the houses have been bulldozed because these were the anti-social elements, and anti-social elements need to be given a very clear notice. It is given a very clear notice. Fine. So the houses are being bulldozed. Now guys, bulldozing the houses, it has many constitutional challenges. So what are the constitutional challenges? We are going to see them one by one. Number one, Article 300A of the Indian Constitution. Article 300A talks about the right to property. Now Article number 300A, when we talk about it, it simply provides that the state can deprive a person from his or her property. But if the property is being deprived, a person needs to be given all the opportunity to present its case. There needs to be a course of law that is to be followed. Without following a procedure, without giving an opportunity to present its case, nobody's property could be nobody's right to property could be violated. Now what has happened here, in many of the cases where the houses have been bulldozed, they were not given any notice, they were not given any opportunity to present their case. Clear? Even guys, in this particular article, there is one particular case has been presented where a person's house was demolished into the state of Uttar Pradesh. The reason was that the house was illegal structure. Clear? And they even presented that okay, we have sent the notice. Okay, but guys, the person whose house was demolished, he said that actually the notice was fake. Why? Because the notice was addressed into the name of that man, the husband, but actually the house was into the name of the wife. So if it would have been a legal notice, then obviously onto the papers the name of the owner of the house, that is the wife, should have been there. But no, it was a punishment that was being touted. So basically the no opportunity is being given and no due notice is being given. It is the violation of Article 300A of the Indian Constitution, which talks about right to property. Now when we talk about the right to property, it was inserted by the 44th Constitutional Amendment Act. Clear? Then Even there is a Supreme Court judgment, Indian Handicrafts Emporium case. Into the Indian Handicraft Emporium case, the Supreme Court said that the right to property, Article 300A, is a constitutional right and cannot be taken away. Not a fundamental right, a constitutional right. Then the next thing says that there actually is the due process. Due process is not being followed. The process of justice is not being followed. The actions are not proportional. See, simply a person is found to be participating in a protest. You have not tried, you have not actually found the evidence against it, you destroyed his house. It is not proportional to what the person has done. Then secondly, it leads to the violation of rule of law. Clear? Rule of law is the basic structure of the Indian constitution, basic feature of the Indian constitution. And second and lastly, it is seen just as a form of collective extrajudicial punishment. Extrajudicial punishment means the punishment which is not allowed, which is not sanctioned by the judiciary. So it is an it is a collective extrajudicial punishment that is being given. So therefore, the bulldozer justice cannot be justified. So fine guys, see, you don't need to politicize this particular issue if a question is being asked into the exam. Just you need to provide the constitutional challenges in an academic sense. Okay, so an academic argument needs to be there. Fine, this is all about this particular article. Okay, there is a one question. What is the court stand on the LGBTQ? Is it legal in India? Yes, homosexuality has been recognized, not legal, but it has been recognized that it is not illegal. In this particular case, we have Navtej Singh Johar case of 2017. Navtej Singh Johar judgment. In the Navtej Singh Johar judgment, the Supreme Court has decriminalized the Section 377 of IPC. Section 377 criminalized the homosexuality. It has decriminalized this particular judgment, and it has even said that there cannot be any discrimination against the LGBT community. This has even been said. So obviously, the court had provided that the homosexuality is not a crime. Moreover, in this particular direction, guys, when we talk about the homosexuality, see, there is even Indian Psychiatric Society, which had clearly provided that homosexuality is not a mental disorder and people should not be discriminated. Fine. So this is all about this particular issue. Fine, and this is all about the today's newspaper analysis. So with this, we come to an end to the today's newspaper analysis. Guys, I hope that you have understood it. So that is all about the today. Thank you so much. Take care of yourselves. Now we'll be meeting tomorrow. Thank you so much.